Namaskar, welcome, good to see you again. Nice to be in this class with all of you today to discuss a very important subject. What is creativity? The Oxford Dictionary says that creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas to create something, or in other words, it could mean inventiveness of the art form with novel yet conforming to the vocabulary and grammar. In Bharatanatyam, creativity has always been the force, like in other classical dances, that has molded the art form to its current state. Even though Natya Shastra and other literature talk about Angabhedas, Angarkas, Upangas, etc., it was probably in the Tanjore Maratha period that the Adavus got codified and systematized. It would be an understatement to say that the first bout of creativity in Bharatanatyam was by Tanjore quartet brothers, the four brothers. The reason is that they had the imagination of reinventing the dance, which was until then a mixed bag of performances, to a path leading to transcendence. The Margam, as we know it, was indeed a path breaking approach, where the dancer starts from the warm up like Alarippu to showing glimpse of Abhinaya in Sabdam to a full throttled combination of Nrita and Abhinaya in the Varnam to a more relaxed Padam or Javali, and finally culminating in the showcase of exuberant dance as in the Tilana. Indeed, the Margam has found Rasikas and dancers captivated for centuries. In T. Balasaraswati's words, the Bharatanatyam recital is structured like a great temple. We enter through the Gopuram, outer hall of Alarippu, cross the Ardha Mandapam, halfway hall of Jatiswaram, then the Mandapa or great hall of Sabdam, and enter the holy precinct of the deity in the Varnam. This is the place, the space that gives the dancer expansive scope to revel in the rhythm, moods, and music of the dance. The Varnam is perpetuity which gives ever expanding room to dancer to delight in her self fulfillment by providing the fullest scope to his or her own creativity as well as to the tradition of the art. The Padam follows. In dancing to the Padam, one experiences the containment, cool, and quiet of entering the sanctum from its external precincts. The expanse and the brilliance of the outer corridors disappear in the dark of inner sanctum, and the rhythmic virtuosity of the Varnam yield to the soul-stirring music and Abhinaya of the Padam. Dancing to the Padam is akin to the juncture when the cascading lights of worship are withdrawn and the drum beats die down to the simple and solemn chanting of sacred verses in the closeness of God. Then the Tilana breaks into a movement like a final burning of camphor, accompanied by a measure of din and bustle. In conclusion, the devotee takes to his heart the God he has so far glorified outside, and the dancer completes the traditional order by dancing to a simple devotional verse. Unlike the Jivatma Paramatma analogy, Tanjore Balasaraswati has used creatively how the Margam is applicable even today. In her dance too, she creatively used extempore dance to the Sancharis, thereby no one performance of her was like the other, each was quite unique. This is called Manodharmam in Carnatic music. Such use of Manodharmam, extempo performance, was part of Sadir, and this gave ample scope for the dancer to paint a canvas with as many hues as possible, yet remaining in the sthayi bhav of the character. It was not just Tanjore Quartet who dabbled with experimenting the art form. The Devdasi of later 19th century have been documented with dancing to God Save the King to Western music. This was in the year 1848 when a certain Mr. Edward, an Englishman who was on the payroll of the Tanjore king, taught them the music. Going further back, Muthuswami Dikshita, 1775 to 1835, has composed over 40 songs based on Western melodic tunes. Commonly known as Notu Swaram in Carnatic music, they are used currently as practice songs and sometimes performed in courts. A famous example is the Santatam Pahimam Sangeeta Shamale, a song on Goddess Saraswati, has the melody of the British song God Save the King. Rukmini Devi Arundale brought her own creativity into Bharatanatyam, where she took classical literatures and choreographed them into dance. This was novel at that point of time. Also, new ideas were employed in her dance dramas that were aesthetically pleasing, yet remained within the framework of Bharatanatyam grammar. For example, Kalidasa's Kumara Sambhavam, the Ramayana series, Kutrala Kuruvanji, Jayadev's Geet Govindam, and many more. Not just dance dramas but also in compositions for solo performances, Rukmini Devi Arundale's creativity can be seen, for example, in the Adavu patterns and Tirmanams. Since then, Natuvanars and dancers have employed their creative juices to make their performance stand apart from others. Vaduvu Ramaya Pillai introduced the trend of striking a pose after a Tirmanam or a suitable place. His star disciple Kumari Kamala or Kamala Lakshman Narayan, also known to hold a Karana pose or a seemingly difficult pose for longer duration. Soon this trend caught up and now striking pose in middle of a performance has become quite common. Among the pioneers, Uday Shankar is known for creative introduction of social themes in dance instead of just mythology. This was something totally unknown in Indian dance. His many works like Rhythm of Life, Labor and Machinery, Snake Charmer, Snanam, Lady and the Thief, and others described social issues of the society and mundane events in dance. With changing times, dancers and audiences were becoming disenchanted with the themes of Naika pining of the Lord, suffering from pangs of separation. To break this mold, dancers took two divergent paths. The first was using contemporary themes and subjects that have no basis on mythology. The second was to look at the Naika based themes in a fresh perspective. In the first category, works of Mrinalini Sarabhai has been a pioneer to choreograph contemporary social issues with the use of Bharatanatyam vocabulary. Her works such as Manushya, that describes the different stages of man going through his life, Memory, a ragged fragment of eternity, dealt with the topic of increasing suicide rates of women in India. Unlike Uday Shankar, Mrinalini Sarabhai used the language or vocabulary of Kathakali and Bharatanatyam as the core and worked around the new texture for discussing social issues. In fact, it is said that after watching Manushya, the former Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru changed his views about Kathakali to a fine art form. Mrinalini Sarabhai is also credited with choreographing new themes with Cholakatus alone. The force and tone used for reciting the Cholakatus or Cholakatus as we call them became the dialogue between the dancers. These were applauded and well received among the audiences in Gujarat where she was based. Since then, many dancers have taken Bharatanatyam and have expressed their angst, love struggles in life on stage. A famous example is Lata Pada's Revealed by Fire, where she has recounted the tragedy she faced when she lost her husband and her two teenage daughters in the doomed Kanishka Air India flight from Montreal. While many objected to show victim art in Bharatanatyam, Lata Pada's guru was opposed putting personal trauma on stage. The dance critic Leela Venkatraman has a different view of why such productions can find legitimacy in Bharatanatyam. Watching shows evolved out of personal experiences. Some comment that it amounts to self indulgence and they did not come to see a highlighting of someone's personal tragedy. While some identify many elements from her work as reflected in their own lives, others feel the artist is trying to project herself as a tragedy queen. If a dancer brings in elements like Sita and tries to find a parallel, it would give the implication of trying to find legitimacy for the work. As a critic, the challenge is how you would react to such performances. It would be best to look at a work of art as itself and not try to transpose your own convictions. In the same vein, many dancers, in the name of contemporizing the dance, involve day-to-day activities on stage. For example, Neena Rajarani's Srishti Dance Company produced Play Ball in London. This event had a football match choreographed on Oothukadu Venkata Subbarayya's Kalinga Nartana Tillana. Also was a dance version of a typical office life in West and its politics. Such productions have raised questions of whether dancers have wrung out their creativity to the extreme. Also, dancers have used Bharatanatyam vocabulary to creatively use contemporary literature in Bharatanatyam. A good example is Jonathan Livingston's Seagull, where a seagull learns about life and flying. Anand Shankar Jayant and Jayanti Subramaniam have interpreted this into Bharatanatyam skillfully. Also are the Jataka tales choreographed for children. Anand Shankar Jayant has used Bharatanatyam as the core and choreographed it. Newer themes are always in demand for dancers as they have a need to reinvent themselves. Thus, themes on rape, pollution, corruption, and other social causes find space on stage. How do the audiences react to it is a different issue. Rather, from the standpoint of the dancer, it is to express their frustration of how they see the current society and their social activism. In the other spectrum of creativity of the second type, dancers have collaborated with other artists who are not related to dance and have produced some noteworthy productions. For example, Srinidhi Chidambaram's Chennai is about the capital city of Tamil Nadu, where songs on various localities of Chennai were choreographed too. In this production, she collaborated with film lyricists Vaikunt. Similarly, Urmila Satyanarayan has collaborated with the Harikatha artist Vishala Hari. Malvika Sarukkai and Alamel Valli are two prime examples of pushing the boundaries of Bharatanatyam without altering the grammar. Malvika Sarukkai's Bindu was about a Bharatanatyam interpretation of artist S. H. Raza's paintings. Mixed with a Margam format, Bindu used Malvika's interpretation of a viewer's response to Raza's painting. She also has choreographed on other contemporary themes as well as Thimaka and others. Alarmel Valli has carved a niche with using Sangam poetry with themes that today's audience relate to. Her creativity lies in identifying rare and lyrical poetry of Anganuru, Purananuru, Paripadal and other Sangam era literature, where Vatsalya, Sringara Rasa can be elaborated in detail. Leela Sampson with her Spanda Dance Company has exploring pre-Vedic themes in dance, where the final outcome is an abstract work that is aesthetically pleasing. Also, her works are aligned with the theosophical philosophy, which influenced her training at Kalakshetra. Breaking away from the hierarchies, Spanda, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, many versions, explores pre-Vedic texts. It is universal in spirit, inclusive rather than exclusive. It is about nature and primal energies rather than about kings or celestial beings with superior, more sophisticated skills than others about him. We had to break from the hierarchical structures that existed in myth, but also in dance companies where some dancers carried the show and others were relegated to props. Chitra Chandrasekhar Dasarthi has explored the concept of sound in Dhvanya, where she described the journey of flute from a bamboo seed to the final destination at the hands of Lord Krishna.